Hey everyone, this is Taylor from thetradinganalyst.com, and I'm going to go over a bunch of charts here that some of our followers have requested, and I'm going to give my analysis and thought process, and hopefully you're going to learn a thing or two about technical analysis as well as get some profitable trade ideas potentially from these charts that we're going to be looking at. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me and let me know. Alright, so the first one that we're going to be covering is AMD Advanced Micro Devices. And AMD, let's just back it out and zoom out. This is a very bullish chart, okay, overall. We've had some mini dips here and there. You can see they've all got bought, okay. Very bullish stock. The trend is up on this stock. Clearly we are seeing a little bit of a dip right here, but that doesn't mean that this dip won't get bought. So some levels that I'm looking at here on AMD here are right here. There's a little bit of support right here at about $9, and that matches up, and that's from these highs of these candles right here. And that matches up pretty well with this uptrend line that began here in the beginning of the run. You can see we got a bounce there, and we haven't gotten a bounce on it yet. Now this trend line doesn't have as many touches as I'd like for it to be a major buy zone. Major buy zone here on AMD, from what I'm seeing, is about 765 approximately. We've got some big support here from this previous resistance. You can see a lot of resistance there, and then again right here. Finally we broke over it, and there was a big breakout since then, almost 100% gain since breaking over that resistance. So we haven't yet tested it yet. So more than likely, at least on this first test, if we head lower, okay, that's a big if we head down to this area here, that to me is a good buy zone, and I think that at least on the first touch, we should get some kind of a reaction on that. And what you like to see with levels here, or what I want to explain to you, what I mean by the first test, why I'm being specific on the first test rather than, yes, AMD is going to bounce from this level and then make new all-time highs, is because levels like to get tested before breaking them. Most of the time, they don't just slice right through a level, okay? They take the stairs up and the stairs down, okay? So see how we came up here, we're moving like this, sideways, then up, sideways, then up. Same thing is going to happen on the downside. So you can get a nice entry down here, and it doesn't mean that AMD is going to be headed, all the way to $14, but I definitely think that it can head higher somewhat from this level, maybe come up here and fill this gap at about 1050, something like that. So those are the levels that I'm seeing on AMD. The next one we're going to take a look at is Amazon. And Amazon here, this is one that myself and my members traded very nicely on some call options. We got long right here, and I want to explain exactly why we got long here so that you can learn from it yourself. So right here we had a breakdown on Amazon. You can see that it broke below this box right here, and then you can see what happened a few days later. Boom. Big blast off here, and that's what I like to call a false breakout. I'm sorry, a false breakdown, okay? Right here, we didn't know that it was a false breakdown, but right here, boom, that makes it a false breakdown because we broke higher on heavy volume, we gapped up, and we closed over these highs. So it's a big wash down here, fooled everyone, okay? And a lot of people got short, I bet you right here, and boom, faked everyone out. That was the long signal. We got long right here, and we gained about, I think it was about 150% on some call options, and we took some profit. We took all of our profit up at 815. There was a gap to fill, and as you can see, it clearly reacted to this level. So now, what can you do with Amazon here? Well, Amazon has some pretty decent support at about 790. You can see it was these previous highs right here, here, and then you can see we broke over it here, and you can see it reacting to this level right here. So 790, definitely a level here. And then below that, we've got this uptrend line that started right here and right here. So anywhere 790 to 770, in my opinion, in the short term, is a buy zone here. And I do think that this is a pretty bullish pattern here. And I do think that Amazon is going to head higher eventually, and more than likely going to retest that 845 mark up here, these previous highs that it made up here. The next one we're going to take a look at is NVDA. And NVDA, this is one that actually we called out live in our chat room yesterday and today for a bounce at this area. I didn't personally trade this, but I guided some members along with this trade, and they're sitting nicely with some gains already on some call options. So why was it a nice bounce zone? Well, first of all, let's back it up like we did with AMD and look at this stock. Okay, you don't need any indicators or any trend lines or anything to know that this is an extremely bullish stock. It's been straight up. Okay, so buying dips on it should be an easy decision. Okay, should be an easy decision at this point in time. Okay, at this point in time, it hasn't proven that bounces are not going to get bought yet. Okay, many dips to buy, and you know, you can go on and buy the dip 10 times and make profit 10 times and then be wrong that 9th time, and who cares? Okay, because you just made money on those 10 times and it doesn't really matter. So we're looking at here, the reason that I think that this is a bounce zone here is because of this trend line. We've got a touch here, right there, and you can see it bounced off of it perfectly right here. We also have some nice support here from the lows right here as a support. You can see we bounced off of it yesterday, and today we bounced off of it as well. So I do think that this is a nice bounce zone. We've got support a little bit lower as well at about $95. You can see it was previous resistance, and now that's going to be support. The next one we're going to take a look at is URI. And URI right here, just making some new highs today. Well, we didn't actually break these highs, but we had a nice bullish gap up here. You can see we just kind of consolidated sideways, and then when you see a gap up in a candle like this, that's very nice action. And we did so on some pretty nice volume as well, 2 million shares. Not the heaviest volume day that we've seen ever on URI, but definitely you can see above the average right here. So looks like it's headed higher here. Let's see if I can draw an uptrend line as well. That'll do. That's a pretty okay trend line. You can see a touch here, here, bounces here, and then you can see we didn't make a new high, but we did have the highest close here, right here, closing over this resistance. You can see it was resistance here, several times getting rejected here, and then we finally closed over that. We've got the Bollinger Bands, which are very tight here, which means that we've been trading sideways for a while. More than likely, URI is going to continue to the upside. The next one we're going to take a look at is UA. And UA, clearly in a downtrend here. I'm going to back it up so you can see this. This is the important part right here. You want to see the downtrend started right here. Got a touch here, here, rejection there. And then we've got some pretty decent support between, you know, $25 and I'll draw another little support right there, just above or just below $24. So between about $23.50 and $25 is that support level that you want to see hold on Under Armour here. And right here is that main support, just about $25, which is just a few cents lower than us. If we can get some kind of bounce here and then a break over this downtrend line, I think that we can logically expect this gap to fill right here. And that's also some heavy resistance. I wouldn't really want to be long higher than that, just because I do think that it's at least going to take a pause. If it heads up to about $32, that it's at least going to take a pause if and when it gets up there. But if we break much lower than $23.50, to me that's not really going to be, this isn't going to be a stock that I want to be owning when it's making new all-time lows. Okay. The next one we're going to take a look at is TEVA. And TEVA, you can see here, I'm going to go to the weekly chart. Actually, let's go to the monthly chart so we can see it a little bit better. Okay, so clearly overall, very bullish. Stock has been headed straight up since inception of 85. Let's just reflect on this. It was down at almost 5 cents, and here we are up at $34, and it went as high as $70. Some people made a lot of money here if they held on to that. But anyway, so we're looking at this chart here. This is the monthly chart, and we're looking back all the way back to 2006 approximately. Okay, so why is this level important? Well, because we've gotten, this was resistance here, you can see, broke over it, came back, retested it, so there's a reaction, came back, retested it, again, several touches right here, here, many touches right here, and you can see now we're all the way back at this level right here. And you can see a lot of volume here as this moves lower. So a lot of times volume is indicative of either tops or bottoms. And since we're in a downtrend here, you have to assume that this could be a bottom. And this is a monthly chart here, okay? So last month, right here, we had a hammer right at this month, okay? Not exactly a good sign that we are making new lows on this other month, on this next month, and not exactly a good sign that we've got only about 2 weeks left in this month. So this is a level here that you want to see hold here. If it doesn't hold here, if it closes below about $36 here on the month, then that's not really going to be a good sign. But definitely think that it can get a bounce here. Pretty overdone here. The stochastics here are at pretty oversold levels here on the monthly chart. Obviously, buying based purely on an oversold stochastic is a sure way to lose money in the market, but it's definitely a factor here that you want to be paying attention to. All right, the next one we're going to take a look at is TWLO. And TWLO, we go to the daily time frame here. And a while ago, I had some people here, and this is when TWLO was around here, and I said, yeah, TWLO is going to get rejected around $36. They said, no, TWLO is going higher here, and we're going to retest these highs up here. I said, nope. And the reason why is because, very simply, okay, and this obviously, everything in technical analysis is not 100%, but typically, when you have uptrends, and this is a Fibonacci level that I'm drawing here. So I drew it from the lows over here to the highs over here. And typically, you want to see uptrends of stocks. You want to see them hold their 61.8. See that 61.8 Fibonacci retracement level in order to continue to be a bullish stock. Okay, so here we had our chance right around the 61.8, and a lot of this is not an exact level here. I would definitely not recommend just buying at the 61.8 Fibonacci retracement level if that's the only reason that you're buying right there. Okay, there's got to be other reasons, support or a trend line, something like that. At least that's the way that I like to do things. And you can see that, and another thing is these Fibonacci levels sometimes aren't, super exact. So if we dipped a little bit lower, the Fibonacci retracement level is right here about $42. If we dipped a little bit lower to about, even all the way down to like $36 and got a bounce here, I'd say, okay, that's close enough to that 61.8. But we didn't get even close. Okay, we dipped big time below it, so we pretty much blew any bullishness up to that level. So that uptrend was definitely broken here on TWLO. So anyways, now looking at what we can do with TWLO. Well, we're definitely in a downtrend, and you can clearly see that we're making highs, lower lows, lower lows. So lower lows, lower highs. That is a downtrend. But we're coming into a level here that could see a bounce. Okay, and I'm just talking about a short-term bounce. If we can get TWLO down here near $24, right here near these lows, and against this lower channel line, to me, that's a good buy zone here. And we can target up here near this upper channel line, up near about, right now it's around $30, but who knows, by the time that TWLO hits 24, this down channel line could be all the way down at 28, because it is declining here as we move from left to right on the price chart. But other than that, you can look for shorts right here against this down channel line as well. So clearly the shorts are winning here, and this is just another one of those. This looks exactly like GoPro, very similar to GoPro. And GoPro, if you recall, had a very similar looking chart here, and it broke its IPO price here, and that's very bearish here. When you get a stock that, yeah, okay, very bullish, bullish, bullish here, and then we pretty much just go straight down, okay? So clearly there was some manipulation, whatever you want to call it here, that was driving this price higher, exuberance from investors, and then the truth came out, and this really isn't that great of a stock here, obviously. You can say whatever you want about the company, it doesn't really matter if the stock price is going down. All that we care about is the stock price, because that's how we make money. So anyways, I'll get off my horse right there. So the next one we're going to take a look at is GoPro. Oh, funny that we were just talking about GoPro. So GoPro here, you can see that we're at a decent support here. This is near all-time lows here, about 875 approximately. You can see we got a bounce here. You can see we got a bounce right here in May of last year, and then you can see we're reacting to this level again right here. Myself and the members at thetradinganalyst.com profited really nicely on some call options. We gained almost 100% on these call options, and I'll explain that trade, and then I'll explain kind of the broader GoPro chart. So the reason we got calls here is because this is what I like to call a fractal day. You can see that we're kind of trending down here, and what a fractal day is a 3-day pattern. So we've got this day, and then this second day, in order to be a fractal, needs to have a lower high and a lower low compared to the previous day. And then what completes the fractal day, what makes it a fractal, is this third day makes a higher high and a higher low than this day. So we've just got kind of like a washout low, and then we punch higher, and that was a great long signal, and we sold it on this day right here. Options, you don't need a huge move in order to make 100% gain. So that was a really nice trade for us. So now what can you expect for GoPro? Well, it looks like GoPro does want to head higher here. You can see we've got this uptrend line right here, several bounces right here. We bounced off of it today. This isn't exactly a friendly candle, as we did break the lows here of this day. We broke the low of this day right here. Almost a bearish engulfing candle as well. But definitely think that it can get a bounce here. Overall, though, I do think that, if we do get any dips down to about 875 here, that's a buying opportunity. I think that we're going to at least test up here near 972. You can see we've got big support here, broke below that, so now it's going to be big resistance. You can see we almost tested it a few times here, but we haven't quite really tested it just yet. And I think that this is the time that we're going to be doing it. You can see all these breakouts kind of failed, okay, but this one you can see we popped nicely on some pretty decent volume right here, and kind of traded sideways, and you can see we're trending up here. We didn't get any kind of a trend here. We just got one day pop, and you can see that these that the gains of this this breakout day pretty much held. We barely broke the lows right there over here. So definitely think that down here is constructive for GoPro. And that's it for the video. Thank you for stopping by and watching it. Again, if you like the video, visit us at thetradinganalyst.com. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to interact with you guys. Have a great night, and I'll see you next time.